This is the last day of our 9-day cruise on the Celebrity Equinox, where we have visited, started in Barcelona, Cadiz, Spain, Lisbon, Portugal, Porto, Portugal, and Tangiers, Morocco.
What a trip, guys. What an adventure. I mean, from the moment we landed and got into Barcelona, the excitement started.
Yes.
We've been traveling to Europe for over 20 years, but we wasn't prepared for all the changes. And we're going to discuss some of the changes that we encountered.
But first, we want to talk about this ship. The Equinox is one of Celebrity's older ships in the fleet, but I must say she is very well maintained. Rob, what are your thoughts about
Well,
the ship?
that's one thing that's true across the line with Celebrity. They maintain their ships well, even their older ships.
Yes.
There's no wear and tear. Like you can see on some lines, you can actually see the age. Celebrity did a really good job in keeping up the maintenance on their fleet.
They really have. The commitment to cleanliness, lots of hand washing stations and hand sanitizer all over the ship. Staff is constantly wiping down and mopping up.
And while we're talking about the ship, I cannot overstate the service.
Oh, wow.
Service has been fantastic, guys. I mean, no complaints whatsoever. Just great service, top to bottom.
Attentive, whether in guest services or even in the buffet. They're right there. Our stateroom attendant is phenomenal. Kudos to Celebrity for their maintaining their standard of service.
So let's move off the ship.
All right.
Barcelona. How did you find Barcelona?
Oh, you know, it's my favorite European city. We've been there, what, 8 times?
8 times.
Because there's always so much more to see. And it did not disappoint. It has that same vibrant energy that just automatically captures you. Normally we stay in Barcelona, we stay near the Gothic Quarter or somewhere along Las Ramblas. Yeah. This time we stayed in the Eixample area, and it was a phenomenal experience as well. Lots of designer shops. It's more residential than it is tourist. So we just kind of immersed ourselves in the culture and ate and shopped.
Yeah, and we did our research, guys, prior to arriving. So we knew that 70 Barcelona, that hotel, was a very, very highly rated hotel.
Yes.
And it was in a great location, a great area. We actually walked from our hotel to the Sagrada Familia, you know, and we researched that before we moved, before we checked in there, what was all in the area. And so that made things a lot convenient for us, and we really enjoyed that part of it.
And let's talk about that walking, because our research said it was about a 10, 15-minute walk. And we asked the concierge, she said, sure, just go right down that way. Right down that way in Europe is a lot farther than it is for us in America. It was a long walk.
Yeah, let me elaborate on that a little bit. When you ask your concierge or local, you know, for directions, and they give it to you, take into consideration, they're giving it to you from their perspective, not from an American perspective.
They walk every day.
They walk every day. And they used to walking a mile, mile and a half, 2 miles. That's no big thing. So when they tell you, oh, it's just a 10-minute walk right down there, don't worry about it. Hey, after about 15 minutes, you say, did they give us the right directions?
But we made it.
But we made it. You know, it was all enjoyable. It was a lot. Our head was on a swivel, you know, because Barcelona has changed so. That's one thing we realized. Progress continues. Everything keeps changing.
Because our first visit was in 2005.
Yes.
And this is 20 years later. So we've noticed a lot of differences. Infrastructure changes, lots of more construction.
Yeah. And some of the tips I would just like to impart here is this. When we first started coming to Europe, visiting, buses and your tours and your transportation would drop you real near the famous tourist sites. That's not the case anymore, guys. Because of the over-tourism and the crowds, they're dropping you off further from the sites to manage traffic and get away from congestion. And so, like, if you go into a famous site like the Sagrada Familia, Pina Palace, or you go into, say, the Vatican or wherever, if it's a famous site, expect crowds and expect a walk if you have a tour. If you get a private driver, then you might fare a little better
Smaller
with getting,
vehicle, yeah.
dropping you off. If you're on a tour bus or a coach, they can't park there. So you can end up walking sometime a half a mile to get back to your bus after you finish the tour, after they drop you off. So that's just a little tidbit there I'm sharing with you, so be aware of that. Wear your good walking shoes.
Another tip we've given before, but I can't stress it enough. If you go into a major attraction, purchase your tickets ahead of time online.
Yes.
There were about a cajillion people at La Sagrada Familia that day. We had our tickets ahead of time. We were able to go right in at our time. But being there and expecting to buy tickets on the day is highly unlikely.
I asked one of the tour guides, while we was in Portugal, in Lisbon. And I said, is it like this every day? Because it was like wall-to-wall people. He said, yes, every day. So over-tourism is really a problem, guys. You know, I don't know how they're going to continue to deal with it because a lot of the income over here is generated by tourist dollars.
It brings revenue into the
But
cities.
it really,
yeah.
when we were just making the rounds on these excursions, you could just see it. The tourists are actually in the people's way. People trying to do their jobs, you know, and carry out their duties, how they make their living, working and stuff. You can see the frustration on their face because you've got thousands of people, you know, just diving in these areas.
Because earlier when we started, cruise ships were smaller. They weren't bringing
Yeah.
as many people. But cruise ships are carrying 3, 4, 5,000 people. If you have 3 or 4 ships in port, you can imagine how many people are flooding into the city.
Yeah, so it's going to have to be a whole lot of adjustments made in the future because it's really getting out of hand.
But
Yeah.
moving on, the other ports, Cadiz was wonderful. Enjoyed visiting Seville there. Lisbon was amazing. We actually had an overnighter in Lisbon, so we spent 2 days there and went
To Porto, and we went to Pena Palace, and we also had some great food, guys.
Oh.
I can't tell you enough about the food.
starting with the tapas in Barcelona.
Starting in Barcelona, Lisbon, Porto, Seville, Cadiz. I think we ate more off the ship this time
Yeah.
than we ever have before because
Yeah.
we knew all the destinations had great food and they did not disappoint.
We'd heard about Portugal's famous dessert, pastel de nata,
Oh, oh.
to die for. We ate probably more than we should.
Yes.
But they were so fresh and so delicious. Absolutely.
And you know, I could easily see how all the walking could be necessary if you had a pastel de nata shop in your town.
If I ate those every day, I would balloon up to 572 pounds.
Hey guys, this is what's so cool about that. You get them hot right out of the oven.
Yeah.
Now imagine that. They melt in your mouth with flaky crust. When you bite it, the flavor just resonates and it just breaks apart. I mean, it's delicious. And I haven't had any pastries like that before in my life. And I can see why they get such a good thumbs up when people say you're going to Portugal and they say get the pastel de natas. And I'm telling you again, if you go to Portugal, get the pastel de
Yes,
natas.
yes. Rob, let's talk about tour guides for a moment.
Okay.
In every city we visited, we booked a private tour because we wanted to make sure we got the most out of the destinations. And we got some wonderful facts. We saw some beautiful things. I'm amazed, before I give it to you, Robin, at how well the tour guides handle the languages. One day they're speaking French, one day they're speaking Portuguese, same tour guide.
Yes.
And they just translate flawlessly.
And this particular tour, we used private tour guides. We didn't go through the cruise line. We used private tours that we had researched and found online and we had used before on previous trips. But the degree of detail and passion that they delivered in their presentation to us was like unlike anything we'd had before on tours.
Yes.
And it was like actually being in an advanced class. They was like professors, they were teachers.
Yeah, yeah.
And they started from the beginning, the founding, and took it all the way up to modern day. And they covered everything. Because we had long tours, every tour we had was over 8 hours.
Yeah.
You know,
Well worth it.
So you can impart a lot of information in 8 hours when he's constantly feeding you information.
And
it was
sometimes
well worth
people
it.
worry about booking excursions that are not sponsored by the cruise ship because you got to make sure you're back to the ship on time. The ship will leave you. So you got to vet those tour operators.
Yeah.
As Robert said, we had vetted this one before, used them in Cordoba, Spain last year. They are excellent. As a matter of fact, I'll call their name.
Yes.
It's Spain Day Tours. Phenomenal. They do great shore excursions. Pick you right up at the ship and have you back well before the back on board sail away time. Spain Day Tours is phenomenal.
Very comfortable motor coaches. You know.
Modern, yeah.
I mean, we had mid-sized motor coaches because at certain points we didn't have enough for a bus. But a few points we did have enough for a big bus. Beautiful buses, very comfortable. The guys made regular stops for restrooms. You know, that's very important too when you're touring in other countries. So it was just on a scale from 1 to 10, the whole trip has been a 10. You
Yes,
know,
yes. So let's touch a little bit about the walking.
You really want to do it? Do you really want it?
Today, we're sitting down because we're recovering from all of that walking. Keep in mind that much of the walking is uphill and downhill over ancient cobblestones. You're talking about the 11th century cobblestones. They are very unforgiving. Robert and I are in good shape. We work out at the gym 3-4 times a week, and we train for cardio, but that's on a smooth surface. Baby, nothing prepares you for the steps and the cobblestones but being there.
Hey guys, I'm gonna tell you, nothing we can say here will express or impart how strenuous the walking was that we did.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, every stop, every excursion, we walked over 3 miles, like 27,000 steps. And it was hills, declines, inclines, cobblestone. Everyone, everyone.
Yeah.
We're from San Francisco, the Bay Area, so we know about hills, but we didn't know about the hills in Lisbon and Porto, you know. And the cobblestone streets, guys, the uneven surfaces put wear and tear on your calves, your hamstrings, you know. So
You need good walking shoes, not sandals,
Yeah.
not flip-flops, really sturdy walking shoes.
and you cannot train for that. I asked one of the guys, I said, how often do you do this? He said, every day. Man, really? every every day? You know, so I mean, conditioning comes into play. We work out, you know, several days a week, you know, 2 or 3 miles on the treadmill, you know, man, at the incline and stuff, but it's nothing compared to being on actual cobblestones in the hills that you face when you're doing this type of travel.
So if you're building an itinerary, whether you choose to cruise over there or do a land tour, allow rest time in between your tours so your body can recover. But it is well worth it. Doing that walking is the only way to get to the heart of a lot of those sites.
Yes. So we're going to cut this off here now, guys. We think we've given you guys a lot of information here. Hey, visit the YouTube channel. You know, we have a lot of information there we want to keep imparting to you guys. And anything else, sweetheart?
We're going to do a whole separate video on Morocco. So keep an eye on the channel and watch for our Morocco video. It's going to be phenomenal.
See you guys.